Hello, my friends. Welcome back to another neck and shoulder release series. If this is your first time here, just so you know, this is a 100-day series, so I'm assuming that you have some knowledge of what we've been doing. If this is your first time, please do let me know. I can't see that you're here unless you put something into the comment box down below, and I'm happy to respond to your questions or slow down if I'm going too quickly. As usual, we can begin with a comfortable basic standing posture, softening your neck, releasing your shoulders. And I will remind you perhaps to use some of the various kinds of Chinese herbal liniments, oils, creams that are out there on the market to help soften and relax the musculature, to help increase local circulation, to make it a little bit easier for these areas to release that we're working on. So if you have a stubborn, tight area, then you can help use these medicinals to speed your process. And as well, in each class, I try to mention a particular device or tool or toy that will help to continue this process of neck and shoulder release outside of class. And this is a fun little device. Looks like this. And if I was to lay flat on the bed or on the ground and place this beneath my head so that these two spaces here rest up against the base of my occiput, the base of my skull, it helps to very gently decompress my neck. If there was somebody gently pulling with their fingers, lengthening and helping to release this part of my neck to shift the angle a bit, it can often be very relieving to people with stiff neck, compressed cervical spine, that kind of thing. And just by spending 10 or 15 minutes a day on something like this, you might get a lot of relief. They're quite comfortable, actually. Also very inexpensive. You can find a zillion versions of them online. I like the inexpensive things. So just another few minutes of basic standing position, as usual. Softening your neck and shoulders, your jaw, relaxing your face. Letting go of your tongue, your throat, softening the sides of your neck, the back of your neck, so that all of this is eased and opened. Releasing the tops of your shoulders, the front of your shoulder, the back of your shoulder, the space just beneath. All of this softens outward toward the elbow, as though your elbows are gently sinking, decompressing the shoulder, lengthening the space away from the spine. Your wrists are released, your hands are very soft. Letting go of your chest, allowing that weight to fall down toward your belly, softening your upper back, releasing your lower back. Letting go of your hips, so that as though you were gently sitting into a tall chair behind you, that's the direction of movement. So it's not that you're pushing your hips back or bending your knees, but rather there's this comfortable unlocking movement, just back and opening behind. Perhaps only a centimeter or two, enough to release and unlock the joints in your hips and legs. Softening your feet and your lower legs. Your breath is comfortable and even. Don't control it. Simply make space for it. And allow your mind to settle into the present moment. We maintain this quality here through every movement in the form. So in a way, this standing posture is embedded in all of the moving practices that we'll be doing. So don't leave this skill of openness and comfort behind. Closing. The elbows relax away from the body. Don't draw your elbows behind your back. Your elbows continue to release downward. Soften your chest and upper back, your belly, your hands resting on top of your navel. Don't squeeze your elbows against your side. And now, gentle circles around the navel. Using the softness and relaxation in your hands and forearms to communicate to your abdomen, to the musculature in your torso, that it should also release and soften. And if you're able to, allow your awareness to sink into your body, beneath the skin, beneath the muscle, and if possible, even circulating around the internal organs inside your abdominal cavity. Progressively larger and larger circles, covering your abdomen, and then changing direction, spiraling back in. Successively smaller and smaller spirals. Let that softness find its way all the way through to your lower back. You can allow your hands to slide around. Warmth of your palms soaking into your lower back, softening there. You can also scrub up and down gently, warming the lower back, tops of the hips, base of the ribs. You might even find it easier to go up and down this way. And now, softening one side of the neck and the other. A sense of lengthening the side of the neck as though your head is still expanding. Cervical spine is opening. It's simply opening more on one side than the other. Do not compress. With all of these movements, there seems to be a closing side, but really there's just a side that's opening less than the other. We don't compress or close or constrict, crimp, clamp. Lots of fun ways to describe the movements we're not creating. And back to a basic standing position. This foundational practice, left and right, yin and yang, balancing. Allow the weight to flow down through one half of the body. The other half becomes light, empty, and free. And then we change. It flows down through the other half of the body, allowing one half to become settled and one half to become light and empty. Yin and yang. You can allow the arms to settle down alongside the body. I'm exaggerating a little bit here when I do this so you can see what's going on. The movement itself is quite small. When it becomes very internal, you can hardly see the movement at all. It looks like a very slight swaying motion, but that might be harder to see on camera, so I'm making it a bit larger for you. Feel your arm lengthen downward as though it's warm taffy stretching just under the weight of your hand. This kind of lengthening will occur throughout the form as well. And this constant flowing between the left and right leg left and right half of the hips, the torso. All of this will be continuous throughout most of the movements of the rest of the form. It's very worth practicing this separately. Now, if I expand that, combine the last 3 movements together. The hands sliding up and down alongside the spine, the backs of the legs, gently warming, massaging there. I open the side of my neck, side of my ribs, my hips, lengthening, decompressing that side of my spine. And also allowing the weight to pour down, one whole half becoming light and free, the other becoming settled, sinking through into the ground. Smaller and smaller movements. Swaying side to side like a wave, snake softening its sides. Letting go of your wrist, your elbows, your shoulders, your neck, your chest, your solar plexus, your belly. Feeling inside for that middle energy center, middle elixir field. And then, hands softening down. I'm going to put my hands here on the sides of my hips so you can see what I'm doing. Let's begin by tucking beneath and forward. The problem with using the word tuck is that people start to compress the front to make their tailbone sink down. And really, it's more correct to think of simply falling open. Your lower back falls open, your tailbone settles through to the ground. Then we soften the belly, tailbone releases upward. And also the side to side movement. Your knees bend gently, one side of your hips lifting, the other sinking. Now combining these 2 directions into one circle, all the way around, keeping your lower back as soft as possible. I can place my hands here or here. It's often nice to stick my fingers into this connection space here to make sure that I'm continually softening the fronts of my hips and my thighs. So you'll feel it when these begin to tighten, and we want to learn to create this movement without that tension. And then, slightly more narrow stance. I'm going to place my hands on the sides of my hips here to help me remember to soften all of this. The glutes like to grip, the hamstrings like to tighten. Full circles around the perimeter of the feet. If you haven't yet watched the video, the lecture about creating movement through release, that will help a lot with these practices. I recommend going and finding it on my channel. Both directions. Also, the upper thoracic and the neck, allowing them to circle. Starting small. If you'd like, you can draw your feet a bit closer toward each other, as long as you feel stable while doing it. Full gentle circles, only as large as feels comfortable. Most of these movements I do 9 in both directions. You can always do more or less, but always stay within the realm of your comfort and ease, and your body will slowly open because it's not being traumatized. Gentle movements every day. That's why we do this as a 100-day series. Slowly your spine becomes more flexible and soft and open without ever being injured. It's an important qualification. Returning to center and then changing direction. When you're finished, gazing down between your feet as though toward the center of the earth, softening the base of your neck, middle of your neck, and the top of your neck near the skull, allowing the whole cervical spine to lengthen by release. And then we will do the same thing as we look up with the throat, base of the throat, middle of the throat, top of the throat, softening the jaw and the tongue slightly upward. Not through pushing, but through letting go. Allowing your movements to travel up and down comfortably. You can allow the movement of your breath to take part in the movement. The shape of the movement itself tells the breath how to move. In general, you don't want to control the breath. We just get out of the way. Our tendency to constrict the breath is the thing we want to release. We don't want to add more control. That always causes problems. Closing. Softening your neck, your upper spine, middle spine, lower spine. Whole lower back releases, tailbone sinks. Awareness sinks into the middle dantian. If you did the last class with me, which was an hour of standing and seated meditation, maintain those qualities of quiet presence and gentle throughness within your frame. Let's do some shoulder circles. Full circles. The whole shoulder complex here. Shoulder blade, this joint, the elbow, the top, the back, the front. the base and the ribs here, all of this circles. I'm going to have that side in my back foot. My front foot stays relatively stable so that I can close to that side and then open away from that side. Notice that it's not following me around. Creating movement through letting go. Let the top of your shoulder just fall open so your shoulder sinks. Release the front of your shoulder so it falls open behind. Release the back of your shoulder so it falls forward. A wave of softness traveling around the shoulder to create movement, not a wave of more tension. Both directions. Should feel very relaxing, peaceful, comfortable. Cultivate a sense of enjoyment of your practice so that your nervous system can slow down. Now making a forward circle with your head. Chin draws gently close to the throat and the chest, and then extends forward and over in the direction of a car tire rolling forward. A reminder to avoid constricting or closing your throat. And when you lift your head, don't close your neck. Always lengthening your neck and your spine, even when you seem close. Again, you'll hear that my voice isn't constricting because I'm not closing around my throat, even though my chin can touch my chest, but I don't constrict my throat. Please be careful to only go as far as you can without that constriction. You can begin including your shoulders in the movement. Larger and larger circles. Your whole spine taking part in the movement, like a snake, swaying front to back like a wave, a The snake softening open the back of the body, softening open the front of the body, and then tapering off. Closing. Relaxing down. And I apologize, I skipped a few of the shoulder circles. So let's recover them now. Circles on both sides. Palms turning forward as your chest opens and your shoulders release. Palms turning back toward you as your upper back opens. Both directions. Bandai. And then the diagonal movement. As one side sinks, allow it to lift the other. One side drops on top and that opens beneath on the other. The sinking side, just like the left and right yin and yang that we started with earlier. The sinking side allows the other side to become free and open. And in fact, the more free, open, and light one half becomes, the easier it is to sink and settle through on the other. I'm from the desert and have a body type that's easily dehydrated. So I developed the habit of always, just from time to time, taking a sip. Warm liquid. Just a small drink regularly. Very good for my body. Let's start turning the head, looking up, over, and down with your eyes. The opposite side, opening, lengthening, and softening the front of the shoulder. So after just 30 minutes so far of this set, I bet you can already feel quite a difference in your neck and shoulders. So now we'll start doing some movements to help strengthen the postural muscles in through this space, like a gentle weightlifting, but we only do a few. Please don't overdo it in the beginning. Hands lifting against the back of the head. I'll interlace my fingers, but you don't have to do that. Make sure that your elbows do not draw back. What you want to do is let your elbows move away from each other. And as your elbows move away from each other, the hands press gently into the back of the head, then soften, and then very gently lengthen the back of your neck. Crown of the head goes up, which pushes your head into your hands. 1, horizontal, 2, vertical. Lengthening across, horizontal, lengthening vertical. You can probably even see me getting wider and then taller. One more time. Don't overdo these. They may tend to make you sore or stiff. Palms turning forward, lengthening outward, falling away from your spine, and then releasing your hands. I think that is a wonderful exercise for healing this tendency we have to collapse these days. The joke that we call it in the clinic is tech neck, from this position people live in. So I highly recommend that practice to everybody, but please be gentle with it. And remember that you are lengthening and lengthening. It's too easy to do it in a way that compresses and makes things worse. So fair warning, please do it correctly. And then again, hands on the back of the head, not interlacing this time. And very gently use your hand. I'm going to use my right hand to push against the back of my head, to turn my head to the right, my face to the right. My left hand turns my face to the left. I'm not trying to crack my neck or put pressure. I shouldn't even feel a stretch. I'm just using a very gentle, passive rotation to help release my neck a bit. And as well, you'll notice my shoulders changing shape. This is very good for opening deep to the shoulders, as long as your shoulders to your ears. Shoulder blades stay softening down the back, and very gently turning your head from side to side. Loosening endlessly. And then another postural muscle strengthener. Very gently let the weight of your hands rest on the back of your head. Lengthening and opening again, the back of the neck. Very gently, just the weight of your hands. And then looking up, lifting again, just the weight of your hands. Do not pull down, that's too much weight. Even just the weight of your fingers might be enough. Just 3 times, down and up. And then letting go outward. Lengthening your hands away from each other. With each softening repetition, you might find that your hands slowly migrate further down as all of this opens and your arms lengthen. At the end of this set, I feel like I'm an orangutan with my hands down to my knees. So again, hands lifting, resting on the top of your head. Turn the palms up, pressing upward, lengthening the top of your head, softening your shoulders. Your whole spine lengthens. Palms turn down, just resting the weight of your hands on top of your head, allowing the neck and the top of the head to press upward against it. Extending, releasing, lengthening your neck, and then again. This strengthens those tiny postural muscles inside the neck that help with this release upward. But you do not want to make them work too hard. In a few days, I'll add 1 more repetition for that. So make sure you spend at least a good week doing only a few before you add another. part of what you're strengthening in your neck is not just the tiny pencil-thin musculature that we're working on there, but rather a hydraulic quality, especially if you're doing the standing posture. There's a kind of fullness that happens as you let go, and we're challenging and strengthening that quality, not just the musculature in a pulley and lever style of movement. So if you challenge that too much, you end up working the wrong system. So please be gentle. And then head side to side. Keep your face vertical and facing forward. If this feels impossible, just keep at it. Don't use too much force because that will end up being the thing that obstructs your movement. You have to soften, not tighten. You'll hear me say that a lot. And then shaking from the top down. Letting go of any tension that may have accumulated. And then releasing anything that might be being held up here, let it all sink down. Then the little finger touching against your belly. As it moves up, the other hand turns palm down. The other hand turns palm up, just above your head, so the palms are facing away from each other. Make sure that your shoulders stay released as much as you can, and then allow them to lengthen away from each other, lengthening your spine. Crown of your head floats up, tailbone sinks down. Release the lower hand, and then soften your wrist, your elbow, your shoulder blade, your chest, your ribs, your belly, lower back, your hips, your knees, your feet. So a wave of softness down the body. The deeper you can allow that release to occur, the better. Now let's go ahead and transition into black snake twisting around a tree, which is a combination of the last several practices that we did. See if you can keep them all together. Strong reminder not to twist your knees. And remember, if you're joining us and you have questions, feel free to leave some questions down in the comment chat box there, and we will see if we can help you. Lengthening away from the shoulders, softening your arm long all the way around, touching the back of your head if you like. Have the shoulder releasing at your lower back, twisting to look back behind. Up and back, softening the front of your hip and your belly. Down and back, softening your lower back, the rear of your hip. Lower hand sinks, and then you soften down through your body. Even down through your bones if you can. Let's do it twice more on either side. Keeping your hips facing mostly forward, your knees always over your toes. And most of all, emphasizing this softening down the body. It's important to learn this practice of sinking your chi down, this wave of letting go all the way through to the ground. Very useful skill. Anytime you start to feel tension or stress build up in your body mind, you can simply allow this wave of softness that you've been practicing, and it will calm those tendencies immediately, because you can't have stress and a certain kind of hyperactive mind, certain kinds of emotional imbalances without this chi rushing upward. So we're just practicing letting it all sink. Remember that if you're still fairly new to this particular Qigong series, all of it is explained in depth on the channel, so you can always look these individual movements up and learn about them. It's worth following the Qigong learning sequence in order. They're all labeled and numbered, so you can find your way through easily. Let your hands lift up to about shoulder height, pushing straight down, letting your arms flop. Just lengthen around the circle. Up, don't pull back, go straight down so that you're going around the circle. Don't hang on to your arms, let them fall and open. Be completely released at the bottom, at least as much as you're able to. Let a wave of movement go down to your feet. Your chest sinks, your belly softens, your hips release, your knees are soft, your feet are relaxed. And in the same way your chest was rising and sinking here, allow this movement to help with that. Elbow lifts, elbow sinks, palm turns forward, tiger's mouth touching the body, letting your shoulder blade slide down your back, not roll forward. So all of this is an opening, not a closing. And now, one foot in front, hands crossing in front of the body, elbows a little bit high, palms turning up, shoulder blades sinking down the back, and relaxing in front. Chest lifts slightly, chest sinks. Careful not to lean back or draw your shoulders behind your body. And I apologize in advance. Sounds like we have guests arriving, and they're very excited about the beauty of the land. And so you may hear happy sounds. Especially around the monastery, people tend to show up and they feel amazed at the level of natural beauty and the peace of the surroundings. So it's always nice to be around guests from the cities who don't have the chance to experience that very often. I am very spoiled. And now, embracing the tree, lengthening your back, Palms turning out, pressing forward, letting your hands drift away from each other, lengthening around the spine. And then as your elbows sink, your palms turn forward. Most importantly, your shoulder blades slide down the back. If you'd like, as you open, you can gaze in the direction of your index finger, softening down. Don't let your arms come behind your back. Keep your back soft, don't lean backward. As your shoulder blades sink, your lower back has to release, or your shoulder blades have no place to go. If this is too difficult for you to continue, you can simply soften your arms down. And then again. Comfortable release circles all the way around. Gentle. Keep your mind quiet and peaceful. One more. Softening the shoulder blades down your back. Hands turn forward, releasing all the way down. Shoulders are soft, elbows release, wrists and hands turn in. Middle fingers more or less resting the center of your legs. This is the proper shape for most people's shoulders. I say most people on purpose because everybody has a different body. Some people have very differently shaped spines and shoulders. So make sure that you are true to the shape of your own body. Your breath comfortable and even. Let's try some white snake sticking out its tongue. The last few movements were all separate practices found inside this one. Your whole body softening down. The soft tissues of your body releasing like cloth, moving over the skeletal system. Everything eases and opens downward, making space inside, which allows your joints to open, your body to expand. And so on the inside, it's as though there's this feeling of lengthening and opening in all directions because you let go of the compressing quality. While on the outside of your body, there's this falling and releasing through. The breath gently opens into the middle, and your mind settles into your body. This is the appropriate context for your practice. It has to look like this, moving in this direction at least, for it to be effective. Let's try some different shaped shoulder movements. Hands gently in front of the shoulder, in front of the chest. Elbows circling around. If you can, you're welcome to lift your elbows higher than your shoulders, but make sure your shoulders stay sinking. Don't lift them up to your ears. Also, don't draw your elbows behind your body. They lengthen outward away from each other. Both directions. Nice and soft. Let's try a different kind of movement for the shoulder. It includes the movement of the waist. So make sure that your hips stay facing forward. If I was to hold on to your hips so they weren't twisting, and your knees certainly aren't twisting, but instead of turning here, you turn your navel. Your navel turns. Notice my hips are facing forward, they're not twisting. And I'm going to draw a path with my fingertips from my navel to my spine and back. My knee continues facing over my toes, it's not twisting. My shoulder stays soft, it's not folding behind me, stays open this way. Both sides. I'll put my hand here just so you can see that my hip is not turning. So your hand will only go as far as your waist and your shoulder can soften. You don't need to go all the way to your spine. This is just the direction of the movement. One more. Now that people have been practicing this set for a week, I want to slowly include more challenging movements, but don't let it add tension to your body, please. Hands sliding down side of your body, palm turning up, palm turning away. Let go of your arm. This is a very important moment to release lengthwise. And then this is a very important moment to keep your shoulder quiet, to continue leading with your fingertips. Lengthening through your hands. Shoulders are soft and quiet. Leading with your fingertips. Turning your waist gently. Now flower hiding beneath the leaf. Both palms facing down. One side is stable. The other hand creeps beneath that hand and then opens. Palm turning up. Chest is soft and open. Notice my shoulders letting go all the way around. Remember, if this starts to fatigue your shoulders, simply take a break. You can hit the pause button, shake out your arms a little bit, sit down for a moment, and then come back. Don't push into the tension. You end up just practicing tension. We don't need to get better at tension. So the last 4 exercises have been in preparation for this next one, golden snake, everybody's favorite. Slightly wider stance, comfortable stance. I'll just have one hand out of the way. The other one moves across. Around the circle. Easy, released. Continuing to breathe comfortably. Crown of the head, always lengthening upward. Don't let your chin duck down or your shoulders creep up to your ears. Maintain the length of the neck and the cervical spine. Again, a slightly wider stance. Palms turning forward as your shoulders and your chest soften open. You want this sense of going open. And then as you close, don't let your shoulders round forward. Shoulders blades stay in the back. Palms turn forward. Your hips are softened back so there's room for your hands to come in front of your body. And soften in this direction like this. It's a release. Your chest sinks, but your shoulders do not slump. They simply soften. Both directions they soften without slouching or rounding. Your lower back is soft. Your neck continues to lengthen. And then around the circle. I highly recommend this practice if you find yourself with a lot of anxiety regularly. I've heard that it can be helpful for various heart disorders, congestive heart, lung issues. Not a prescription, of course. It's just this idea of letting all of this spread open. So if you have tendencies to compress and close this area, it can be a very helpful way to help ease those symptoms. But of course, always talk to your doctor, somebody who actually knows you and what you need. Closing. Settling down and through your body. Notice after those practices how much easier it is to sink and settle. Letting your awareness soak into your abdomen, into that space beneath the navel. Letting the warmth of your awareness reach that space and accumulate. Also noticing how much better you feel in these areas, the changes that have been made. By noticing them, you're far more likely to help your body and your mind transform. It's easy to take note of the problems and to ignore the positive changes, and we want to switch that as much as possible. Notice the positive shifting that your body, mind is taking, and you're far more likely to maintain those things. Where we place our attention grows. Let's start a movement going this way. Make sure that you're not compressing either your throat or the back of your neck as you continue around, lengthening those three sections of the back of your neck and all three sections or four sections of your throat and jaw. Notice that as your shoulders and your chest take part, there's this gentle waving motion down the body, opening the front of your body gently, opening the back of your body. This sinking wave of softness downward again, very useful. The next preparatory practice, that your hips travel back and forward. Notice from the lines of the shoji behind me, it's not that I'm going forward and my hips staying in the same spot. This is a very common mistake. But rather, my hips travel back and back and back and back and back. See how far back it goes? All the way from here to here. And then forward. And I only go as far down, so to speak, as my hips travel back. Don't even think of it as an up and down, but rather a forward and back through your hips, a sinking through your hips to your feet, and lengthening your spine. You don't have to go this deep. This is just me creating an example. My neck stays long. My whole spine is flat like a coffee table. And then my hips again travel forward. Now let's try another version of this. I'm going to let my hands slide around my waist and then slide down the back of my body. Same kind of movement with my spine lengthening. And then I'm going to simply soften my neck, let my hands circle around only as far down as feels comfortable, and then standing up. So again, the spine stays straight. If I can only go this far, then that's as far as I go. My hands come back up, and here we are. If I go this far, I circle up. But emphasize the hips opening, this part of your hips and lower back opening. Softening around. Lead the motion with your hands. So on the way down, your hands lead. Then you wait until your hands are starting to come back up. And then your hips come forward again. At the top, if you'd like, you can open the front of your body a bit, just lengthening the front. Don't compress your lower back. You're supporting your lower back and lengthening the front. And then again, hips drop back. I'll just go further, but only go as far as feels comfortable for you. And then lead with the hands. Lengthen the front of the body. Let's just do one more. Softening all the way through. So now let's combine those last two practices, this circling and that sinking. The first half of the movement is the sinking. The hips go back, only as far as feels comfortable. And then we release the back. Tailbone drops, round the lower back, head drops. And then lead with the nose. Throat opens, front of the body opens, all the way open. Again, lengthening the front of your body for a moment. And then we continue over the top of that circle and soften down. Pause for a moment until your body regulates. And then again, hips travel back, lengthening your spine, softening your tailbone to the crown of your head so the full rear side of your spine gets to open. And then leading with the nose as though you're pressing through your feet, the whole front of the body opens. and then soften. And then again, pause for a moment. From this angle, just using my hands here to support in case people feel a little out of balance. This may help you feel a little bit more stable, but you're not pushing with your hands. It's just a sense of stability. Let's do it twice more. And closing. Taking the time to let everything settle through your body. Very important. Softening, lengthening. Your whole body is long and open. Pushing up, lengthening your spine, softening. As though gathering the clarity, the emptiness of the sky, it washes down through you, quieting your mind, softening your emotions, emptying and relaxing your body. You allow that wave of letting go all the way through the feet, as though you extend roots into the ground, and then gathering up the solidity, the vibrancy, the vitality of the earth, which flows up from your tailbone to your lower back, and then into that same space between the navel and the spine. Everything eases, opens. There's no rush. Letting go. Any tension falls through the bottom of your feet into the ground. The ground naturally exhales into you, filling you up, warming the center of your body, especially your lower back. One more time. Again, the hips stay facing forward, the knees remain facing over the toes. Do not twist your legs. Also, don't lean back or lean to the side. This is a clean pivot around the center line. Hands, shoulders soft. If your hands are feeling too delicate or too painful at the moment, of course, you do not need to strike your body. As with all of these practices, they should feel easy and comfortable. Just modify them so that they're more appropriate for you. I'm sorry that I can't be there with you to help, but you can always feel free to send me videos or any questions that you want, and I will always answer them for free. I want to help everybody feel good in their practice. Just for a moment, again, returning to this Wuji standing posture, letting everything fall open. Crown of the head released upward as you soften your neck. Hands release down as you release your shoulders. Your breath naturally moving through the center of your body. Warmth of the hands soaking in around the eyes, softening there. Releasing around your face, your eyes, your ears. You'll soften the top of your head, the back of your neck. Any space for you that feels a little bit extra stuck. Very lightly stimulating around the chest, the shoulders, front of the shoulder, the rear of the shoulder, top, and even the bottom. Not hard, just enough to allow stimulation to flow to the surface. Up the outside, down the inside, aiding circulation. Knees coming forward and back, shaking the legs, the knees, the glutes a bit. Large, slow to medium sized, and a little bit faster. Find the speed that your musculature and flesh, the large flesh, shakes at, so that things kind of jiggle and move in a way that your body needs. Everyone's body will move at a slightly different speed. So listen to what your body moves at. Sometimes if I'm ringing the large bronze bell at the monastery, I have this large pole and I bang the bell. The bell itself swings at a certain speed. I can't make it go faster or slower. It weighs 600 or 700 pounds. And so I have to ring the bell at the speed that it is moving. Otherwise, I'm chasing it or going too slow. And it's similar here. There's a speed at which the tissues of your body will shake. And then, as you do the smaller, more vibrating size, you want to do it only fast enough so that your body doesn't start to grip. So I can go quite fast, but I'm not adding any tension to my body. But slowly work your way there. Same with your hips. Find the speed at which your body shakes. This will depend on the size of your glutes and your belly and breast tissue. And then fast. Then use that movement to shake your shoulders, to shake your hands. Most people's hands are about the same. Thank you very much. Enjoy your practice. See you tomorrow. 100 days in a row makes a huge difference. If you're not finding them here on YouTube, then you can look over on my Patreon page where I have all of these collections of group classes and things going. It's an easier place to organize things. So feel free to check for the link down below and you'll find everything over there. I'm just really happy to have the chance to share with the community. And I want you all to feel better. Happy that you're here.